Hi friends, we are this time talking about the poem entitled Ode to the West Wind by P.B. Shelley. We have already been warm reading the poem because it makes us full with energy and encouragement to do something new in our life, in particular, in society in general. And I hope that it is what a central idea is of this poem. I think that it is not for reading only, it is just to bring out a kind of change in the thought process of the reader. P.B. Shelley is a very thoughtful poet who has certain mission behind writing his poem. He is just loving writing the poem that he thinks it is his pious duty to make the lot of the people change. Now, we should go on changing and changing depending upon the circumstance and time in which we are living. We cannot simply just follow the same pattern of life after many generations. Even when we are talking about a political system, we cannot say that monarchy is all time suitable one. Now, when people are awakened, they know, they identify themselves with their fundamental rights that monarchy does not allow them to. Now, it is just a open society. It is just an open society where everybody should enjoy the equal natural right to live without any kind of discrimination in between. We know that French Revolution brought out lots of changes in the thought pattern of the person. And here from we move to democratic system of administration. And it is nothing but the engagement of the people to the political decision. Now, administration is run by the people and for the people. It is not a unilateral activity against the monarchic system. It is why the poet needs a sort of change in our administrative system in particular and in people in general. Let people be ready to accept this cry of time. This is what a kind of prophecy is that the poet invokes west wind to spread. Here we find P.B. Shelley representing Christ, who is resurrected by the power of nature. However, he spreads his prophetic views. It is all true that the person who is a forerunner of the change in society is crushed and bruised badly, as is the case with Christ, and similarly, it is the case with romantic poets, including P.B. Shelley. but they are full with their visions of life. They are prophetic in the sense that their visions are to be realized in the day to come. They know that they could not see their vision realized because they were simply crushed mentally. They did not find any scope for the new idea to happen to society. It is why they have left time and they have invited the west wind to cultivate the prophetic visions of democracy in the world. So it is just a change for the betterment of the people. We actually wish to make this world a better place to live, not only for a few people, but for all people. We find that only a few people are enjoying better lives on the cost of the lives of the common people. And it is not acceptable for the romantic poet like P.B. Shelley. Now he describes west winds, saying that it blows away the yellow, black, and red, falling infected with a pestilence or plague autumn leaves. They are infected in the sense they have no life to sustain. And west wind knows it well to let them fall, to let them blow, and let new leaves come instead. It is what the natural process of life is. We observe this very kind of phenomenon taking place in trees. Naturally, we see that in our human life also, there are some old fashioned traditions which have become infected and they should be thrown away. And naturally, the new system will emerge from this. It is the poetic vision, prophetic visions of the poet that he tries to progress in this poem. Now, he has described west wind as a charioteer who drives seeds from the flowers to the wintry bed. Now, these seeds are very much preserved into the wintry bed and they will emerge into the full trees when spring comes. Now, if there is no seed into the ground, into the field, even spring cannot produce a new plant. So seed is the first step of germination of new idea. Even if you do not think, thought is the seed of the change of human life. If we stop thinking, we become retarded and life is gone. Let us think, and that thought in form of seed is just very much lying dormant till the right time comes to make them grow into the full tree. Now the problem is that we people are driven away by a few monarchic personalities. We people have not or have actually stopped thinking, which is the major issue. And if we have stopped thinking, there is no seed of thought anywhere, and so we cannot hope for any change, for any betterment. So, this is what the central point of this poem is. Now, we know that the west wind has been described as a destroyer and a preserver. And we know that the west wind has been described as wild spirit. Wild, that is full with immense energy, immense power, that it can work on all the natural things. So here we are just noticing the word spirit, which is derived from the Latin meaning breath. And as breathing is essential for our life, so spirit is essential for the society, for the better place to live in. A spiritless person is like a breathless person. Now, maybe biologically he is alive, but actually he is no better than dead. So, as west wind is a wild spirit, so we should be, because here is the power of change. Here is the exercise of power. West Wind is working and acting on all the natural things, all because of the wild spirit that it is full with. And it has been seen that power prevails in the world, or rather, wild spirit prevails in the world. Now, as I have earlier pointed out, that the west wind is described as destroyer simply because it brings the lips down from the lips. It breaks the lips away from the trees. It looks to be a negative work of the west wind, but it is an essential and inevitable work for the new life to come. As in our Hindu mythology, the Lord Shiva is known as the god of destruction. But we always take destruction into negative sense, that it destroys the prevailing existence. But unless the prevailing existence is destroyed, there is no possibility of new existence to emerge. So one is replacing another. And this is what a natural law is. We observe this very kind of thing in the natural world, except human life, where the work of destruction has been stopped forcefully. It is all our nature to destroy what is old, what is just not suitable. But we do not try to leave it. We try to keep with us even the most unwanted thing. It is just like the fact that we have made the whole building a junkyard. Now we have just made it full with all useless and wasteful thoughts, wasteful things. So we need to clean up our houses. We need to drive away unwanted things from our houses, and only then we can bring a new things instead. So it is a very positive function even in the negativism. So the contradiction gives us a chance to emerge and to make a new world emerge. So is done by just west wind. Now, It is also described as a preserver. Yes, it is already a positive work because it disseminates the seeds from the plants and trees to the ground to grow in the springs. But it grows in the spring only when the old trees are gone. There should be some space for the new tree to grow. If the space is already occupied by the old trees, how can new trees grow? So there should be some new space, or there should be some space for the new plants to grow. And it is only possible when we destroy the old one. It is why death is essential. You know that it makes possibility of a new life. If we stop the process of death, we simply are trying to discontinue the process of cycle of this world, of this uh, generation. So west wind is really doing a very uh, work that is performed by Lord Shiva into Hindu mythology. Now it is the most important work. To die is the most important work because it provides a space for the new life to come instead. And because we do not want to die, it simply means that we want to stop or discontinue the process of continuity of life. So here we have the phrase tangled boughs of heaven and ocean that suggests that the skies and the seas have boughs like tree. So all of nature is borne along by the west wind. Now it is here that we find that this process is going on. We cannot say that constructive and destructive processes are just going on only to the human life. It is going on everywhere, in all system, in all walks of life. Everywhere you find it essentially going on. And this is what a great prophetic vision is that P.V. Shelley is sharing to us. Now, destructive forces must be more powerful because even to destroy, we need much more force. We need much force than the thing has. This is the reason that P.V. Shelley has just made simile here of the strong and powerful just things. Here we find that he has been comparing the power of west wind to maniac. We still find that clouds are like locks of hair on the heads of some fierce maniac. It is fierce because if it is not fearful, we cannot say that a thing is going to die easily. We make the thing destroy only when the more powerful force is applied to it. So death happens, destruction happens when we apply more energy, more power to that thing. Hence, we find that west wind has been described to be the most powerful source or a natural force. So here we can talk about maniacs, were a group of women following the god Dionysus in Greek mythology. And further we find the description about maniacs, which drinks and dances in a frenzy, and simile is to rage wild nature of the West Indies. It is why we find the wild nature of Lord Shiva when we are talking about his function of death and something like that. It is just a very, very powerful word. We need power to destroy something. And we can say that purpose of destruction should be positive that we are doing that very kind of thing for a new thing to emerge. And once again, you find that another simile is also a strong indicator of the just fearsome power of the west wind. That is the sound of the west wind to a funeral song, or does the night sky like the germ of the last burial ground. So these are all indicators which uh, just refer to the fact that west wind is more powerful, and it is why it has been working on all the things very successfully. So the idea that we have in our brain should be more powerful, that it could destroy the existing just old fashioned ideas to make the new idea emerge at its place. So it is the matter of power that can make the thing change. Now, we find that here it is the sound of the west wind, which is the kind of heralds coming from the storm. The power of the west wind is shown through the point that Atlantic Ocean creates gaps for the wind to echo within. You find very horrifying sounds coming from the Atlantic Ocean, all because of the creation of the gaps. And it is once again a reminder that west wind is powerful, that it can work on Atlantic Ocean, and it can be so horrific that it makes us just feel something fearful within. And it is just the power overruns power. So we can make something defeat only by the very powerful mechanism that west wind has. So Shelley thinks on his childhood, seeing freedom and boundless possibility of west wind. It is what the free stage of life is. We always love being into childhood only because of the concept of freedom, that we enjoy freedom most in childhood. And there is a boundless possibility in the west wind when it is going to destroy something old and bringing out something new. A new world of freedom is established. So it is just to be very much careful about the power that childhood has, or the imagination that childhood has, that we just moving free everywhere, we think freely everywhere, and we find less obstructed by anything else in our childhood. So should be the situation, that freedom is an essential condition of a natural life. As the plant grows freely, as the bird flies freely, as the sun rises freely, so should be the life of the human being. But in most of the cases, we do not find that freedom existing. Hence, there is a need of change. We have made our life too constrained, all because of our wrong thought and wrong process of thinking. So, Shelley seems to overrun the wild, vast wind itself. It is just that very power that should be realized. And we can say that it is possible only by just invoking on the west wind that can pass over very much power of it to the poet. So once again we find that forest is played like a lyre. The west wind makes pleasing musical sound as it moves through the trees. Yes, here too you find the power of the west wind is realized. Shelley likens himself to the forest of which leaves are falling. So he also thinks that the dead eyesight of him must be falling. He does not want to preserve anything which is old, which is out of fashion, and he is withering away and growing older. The more we are growing older, the more stereotyped we become. So we want to be young, we want to be energetic, that we can bring out the process go on, or we can bring out change, or the process of change go on. So let wind scatter the poet's dead thoughts. Even we find that we are living with the dead thought throughout our life, and we spend our life without having any fresh thought. And it is what a dead like life is. And most often we are having generations have been spending their times through the dead habits. Now, the poet does not think that there is any sign of life anywhere. So, we can dream of new ones, or new world, or new birth. And if we do not have that kind of idea, we cannot say that life is going to be worth living for us. No, so here is the message of reform, or it is in terms of religious incantation or chant that we should read this very much poem. So wind magically scatters his thoughts like leaves acid and sparks in a fireplace. So these are all natural things which are indicator of the destructive forces that fires destroys, and all the dirty particles are removed, and the west wind just scatters the dead, just leaves, and it also scatters the ashes to let sparks come on. And so ashes may be dead and burned, but by removing, they often burst into new life, and new sparks emerge from the ashes. So fire must not be covered by ashes for long. Let fire burn, wherefrom we can purify the ideas. And Shelley tells the wind to be like a trumpet announcing a prophecy, alert the sleeping world, or message of reform. So, yes, by sleeping world, we simply mean that we are idealists. There is no idea that is described to be a new one, and there is no sense of reform, and this is very much fatal for human civilization. And it is why, since Christ, there is no reformer in actual sense who can just what he can call make a clarion call to reform our system, our thought. And it is in this way we can say that poem is just going to be very much religious, and with a religious purpose it has been written. Thank you very much.